My golden child sister set her wedding on the exact same day as mine. The sentence cut through the table like glass shattering under pressure. Our parents laughed first like it was clever, not cruel. That candle flickered, catching the gold in her hair. I kept my hand still, taking the ring of my water glass. "We're fine with that, right?" she asked, voice soft and bananas. I nodded once, of course. They mistook silence for surrender. What they did not see was the guest like already waiting in my planner. 2 months later, that same table would feel silent for a very different reason. The first time I realized silence could keep me safe, I was right. I was 8. Sinara, my sister, stood on the front steps, her dress catching the morning light, while mom fused with her hair for a local ad shoot. Small weather, honey. Mom said, breast warm, eyes soft. Behind them, I held the lunchbox. I would pack myself, waiting for someone to notice. No one did. At school, I worked hard. Grades were my way of earning space. When I came home waving a test marked 100, Dad barely looked up from the newspaper. "Don't make your sister feel bad," he said. His voice was flat, but the words cut clean. I folded the paper, careful not to crease the red ink, and slipped it into my desk drawer. That became a habit, folding anything that proved I would tired. Sina was always the golden one. When she failed a class, mom blamed the teacher. When I aced mine, she said nothing. On my 13th birthday, the cake had her name on it too. We thought it would be fun to celebrate together. Mom explained. Sina blew out every candle before I could touch one. I learned to clap for her, even when it burned. Our father worked long hours at an insurance office. He came home smelling ink in disappointment. I became useful washing dishes, checking bills, managing the quiet parts of the house. He liked that you were reliable. He would say it never sounded like love. In high school, I developed a crush on a boy from my math class. I swallowed Sina just once, while braiding her hair. She smiled into the mirror, then went out with him the next week. When I cried, mom said, "Don't be dramatic. He just prefers pretty girls." That was the tonight I stopped sharing things I cared about. Qley was not an option. Sina needs the tuition more. Dad said, so I got a job right after graduation typing invoices in a grey cubicle. My old teacher, Mr. Ellis, helped me apply. "You are sharp, Bonnie," he said. Let them make you small." I thanked him, but small felt life. I moved out at 22 into a one-bedroom apartment downtown. It was quite what it was, ticking clock, shelves lined with color-coded files. I liked the order. I woke up early, made coffee, checked my planner. Every entry was written by hand. I didn't trust memory. It blends too easily. Sometimes Sina called not to ask about me, but to brag. Her new car, her new dress, her new flowers. My parents adored her stories. She is doing so well. Mom said once you could learn from her, and it as thou always. Silence kept the pace, but inside that quiet, something else grew upon precision. I learned how to wait, how to listen, how to notice what everyone childhood turned into the list and receipt of any my adulthood. Proof stayed neatly in drawers. That was when I understood silence was not pace. It was preparation. The call came on a Tuesday night. Rain tapped against the window while I updated the guest list on my planner. My skin lit up silent. I almost did not answer. "Hey," she said, her tone too bright. "So funny thing, my wedding date just got confirmed. It's the same day as yours." For a second, all I heard was the clock. "The same day," I repeated. "Yeah, but you were doing something small anyway, right? Just family?" She laughed lightly. "All relatives will be at mine, obviously mine." It makes sense. The line went quite long enough for her to notice. "Bonnie, you were okay with that, right?" I stared at the circle of ink on my planner. That one that marked my date. The pen was still in my hand. Its tip pressed into the paper until the mark deepened, blend it a little. "Yes," I said finally. "I'm okay with it." When the call ended, I sat in the dark for a long time. The only sound was the rain. The reflection in the window looked calm, almost detached. But my hand had done cold. Later that night, mom called. "Your sister Bene is much bigger," she said cheerfully. "Everyone will be there. You can do your quiet, maybe after theirs ends." Dad chimed in from the background. "Be supportive, Bonnie. It's her big day." "Of course," I said again. The same two words. When the line cut, I flipped open my planner. two identical circles glowed under the desk lamp. Hers and mine. I wrote one small note beside mine. Confirm. Do not move. They would call it coincidence. They would say I did not mind, but I knew better. They would spend years teaching me to stay small, stay silent, stay in the shadows. This time I would stay right where I was. And the same light they thought belonged only to her. Morning after that call, I wake up before the alarm. The apartment was grey and still the kind of quiet that sounds like waiting. Steam from my coffee fills the window, blurring the skyline of Chicago. I opened my planner and ran a finger over the word confirm. The ink had dried and smooth at 8 sharp. I walked into the office. I would be at that company 9 years long enough to know how to make things happen without being noticed. While the others chatted about their weekend plans, I opened the HR portal and began drafting an internal memo. Invitation to Carter Reed wedding formal attendance requested. I did not send it yet. I just saved it as a draft. My cursor blinking like a heartbeat. By noon, I had called the event coordinator. Yes, I said we will keep the same date. She hesitated. Are you sure? The other family, I'm sure. I interrupted gently, but we will need to grant ballroom instead, of course. Mrs. Reed, that night I told Lime, my fiance, about the call. He was quiet for a long time, then asked, you are really not changing it? No, he nodded once, his expression unreadable. Then we do it right. Proper guest list, proper lighting, proper sound. I smiled faintly. Proper silence. The following week unfolded like a montage no one saw click. Sound of my keyboard as I finalized the HR email sweep. A pen marking each come from RSVP from executives and department heads. Print. The check of involves sealed with gold wax. Check. Payments cleared for the ballroom catering and live music. Every task felt exact, delivered the rhythm, steady and cool silence. I realized it was not absence, it was control. Mom called again midway through the week. Your sister's reception is going to be beautiful. She said you will come by to help set up, won't you? I looked at the file of invoices inside me. You will be busy that day. I said busy, but it's her wedding. Yes, I said softly. It is. She did not notice the difference in my tone. She never did at night. And speed everything on the dining table. The sitting chart, the printed guest list, the timeline for the ceremony. Lamb sat across from me, reviewing details. You are sure this is not too much? He asked on, not enough. I replied, he smiled slow and proud. Then let's mark it perfect. We visited the venue together a week later. The grand ballroom stage white and luminous chandeliers skating light like nice. It's elegant, I told the manager, but keep it understand. Yes, ma'am. I touched the fabric of the grapes thick every soft under my fingertips. No excessive decoration. I want people to hear the quiet. The staff looked puzzled. Lamb did not he understood. Each night I recorded small details, the final guest count. The sitting for Mr. Carter, Lamb's father, the CEO, adjusted schedules, reserved parking for senior executives, arranged for live musicians from the company's charity gala list. Every name I had made senior guest list thinner by default. She and her finance Noah had chosen the same venue complex. Two hosts, same floor. She thought it would humiliate me. When the final confirmation email added from HR attendance mandatory for all upper management, I read it twice, then archived it. One evening, I found an old box in my closet inside. Inside among all papers was the folded test I would once hidden as a child. The red handle still glared through the creases. I unfolded it carefully and laid it flat on the table. Next to it, I placed the current wedding schedule, rows of printed names. Seal approvals received, same shapes, same order, different meaning. Liam marked in the end pose. What's the reminder? I said. He looked at the paper, then at me. We are calm, he said. I learned from the best. Your family? No, I said the mistakes. The night before the wedding, I barely slept and ironed the dress. Checked the planner one last time and placed it by the window where the down light would hit fast. The city outside was quite traffic muted. I watched the sunrise, its reflection turning the glass gold. At 7 a.m., my phone buzzed. Mom again, your sister's so nervous. She said she keeps asking if you are jealous. I'm not. I said tell her not to worry. I won't get in her way. You are such a good girl, Mom sighed. Do you live in her voice? I hung up before she could hear me whisper. Not anymore. In the stillness that followed, I could almost hear the next day breathing, waiting to wedding. One date, same address. They thought it would crush me. They did not realize they just booked a front row seat to their own silence. Their air that morning felt heavier than usual. Almost metallic, the kind of quiet that comes before a storm. Come the charge. I arrived early, the hem of my dress brushing against the marble floor of the hotel baby. Steph hurried past with the bouquets and trays of champagne to sign at the Stance Reading Ballroom Edith Carter wedding. Ballroom B. Sinam and Noah, same day, same building, two versions of the truth. Our ceremony began at noon. Guests feed in buses low. They are humming with a polite lather. I watched the rose fill Mr. Carter near the front, his colleagues. Liam's friends, my co-workers, the room glowed under crystal chandeliers when the string quartet started playing, and the sound vibrated through the floor like a heartbeat. Upstairs, a florist whispered to a passing waiter, "Did not have the guest cancel on the other wedding?" The waiter nodded, something about a company event. By the time the vows were spoken, the other hall was nearly empty. When I turned toward Liam and said, "I do," the applause was soft but full. A sound that felt earned. Through the tall windows, I caught a glimpse of Sinna in the courtyard below her grown. Brilliant, her expression fractured. Noah beside her pacing his phone, face tied to his ear. Half an hour later, as our reception began, they entered and noticed them before anyone else did. Mom, Dad, Sina, and Noah all dressed for the wrong room. Their faces shifted when they saw the crowd. The executives, the press, photographer, the Carter family gathered together like a constellation of power. Sina blanket trying to process what, why are all my guests here? She whispered. Noah's both cracked. These are my company's clients. Why are they are? Why here? Mr. Carter stood, then his presence quite but absolute. It's strange, is not it? He said. Two weddings, one date, but only one of them is my son's. The microphone on the stage caught his words, sending them across the ballroom. A silence spread, clean and absolute. Mom's smile faltered. They tried to recover. We do not know. Mr. Carter turned toward them. His tone mailed. You did not have to. Some people only understand older when it stops including them. Sina reached for Noah's arm. Say something. He stepped back instead. His collar tight. You told me this date would humiliate her. Sina's bust shook. You agreed. Their argument spilled into the quiet. Like steady gas exchange logs. Cameras flashed. I did not move. I stood by the table, glass in hand. The same posture I would had during the dinner where it all began. The reflection of the child flickered on the surface of my drink. I placed it on the table beside the guest book, closed clean. Mr. Carter spoke again, softer this time. Let's keep this day for the people who earn it. He had a signal. The staff guided introduced the out calmly, politely, the way you remove noise from a room meant from music. As the doors closed behind them, the quarter began a new piece, slow and measured. The tension melted into a plunge. I raised my glass not high, just enough to see my own reflection tremble slightly in the wine. The lamp touched my hand. They're gone, he said quietly, I know, across the hall. I caught the faint echo of another dude shaming ballroom. Be most likely someone shouting, then nothing. The sound dissolved into the music, into the soft hum of conversation. They came to see me fail. I said under my breath. Instead, they say what silence can build. Liam smiled small and steady in the story. With chin-cleaned glasses, once not for victory but for balance restored. The rest of the evening unfolded in calm waves. No speeches, no drama, just the steady rhythm of forks against porcelain leather that belonged in the right room this time. When it ended, I took one last look around the chandelier like the guest, the polished floor where my reflection stood clear and unbroken. The silence they left behind was perfect. The morning after the wedding, the city was washed clean. The skyline gold played gold through the window. The cup flickers of against the counter. Study measured. Liam was still asleep. The sound of his breathing blended with the hum of the refrigerator on the dining table lay my panel closed. Now it was slightly wrapped from body use. Beside it, our marriage certificate rested flat under the morning light. The seal caught a shimmer, the same color as the ink I would use to circle the date months ago. For years, I had folded proof of myself, small enough to hide in drawers, grades receipts, unspoken things. Yesterday, I finally unfolded them all. No confrontation, no rushed voices, just a quiet line drawn straight through everything that used to hurt. I thought of a Sina. Maybe she was to silence, to empty inbox, an answered call, the sound of her own reflection cracking. Maybe our parents sat in their house, still trying to understand the moment the room stopped clapping for them. I did not feel joy imagining it, just distance. The kettle whistled softly. Turn it off before it grew loud. Liam entered, her masked eyes half open. Morning, he said, morning. I replied. I leaned against the counter. You okay? I nodded. Yes, finally, he did not talk about the wedding. We don't need to. It had already done what it needed to in something all. In something quiet, what he left for work. The apartment settled into a calm rhythm again. I opened the window slightly. The air smelled like rain and bakery bread from the shore downstairs, somewhere far off. A train moved through the city, its horn low and fading. I sat at the table, opened my planner one last time, and drew a clean line under the final entry. Read Carter, wedding completed. Then I closed it and placed it beside the certificate. The light shifted across both papers, merging them into one soft reflection. Silence this time did not mean absence, it meant ownership in families like mine. Power does not shout it, withdraws, and when it does, the room finally learns what silence sounds like. It is not empty, it's earned. It's the sound of boundaries setting into place of peace. Finding this own volume after years of being spoken over. If the story stayed with you, stay for the next one. Every silence hurts a rig or owning. Every reckoning starts with the one quiet act of courage. Subscribe, keep listening, and let's uncover how calm can become the loudest justice of all. New stories each week, their revenge speaks softly.